There's a plane overhead.
Hello, hello, and welcome to Hygiene Elevated Conversations and Innovations. And we have the pleasure today of being joined by Miss Melissa Buck. And you might have recently seen our posts about this fun little threader, this tooth threader that you have developed, Melissa. And so we are excited to have you on the podcast today, talk about your journey as a hygienist and kind of what brought you to developing this product for us. So welcome.
Oh, well, thank you. Yeah, so my journey as a hygienist, when I first went to college, I didn't know what I wanted to do. I was thinking, oh, I'll be a pharmacist. And then, I did well in chemistry in high school. And then, had my first chemistry class with over 200 people in it. And I had no idea what was going on. And so I thought, I'll work my way through it. No, that didn't work out. So anyway, I quickly changed my major from pharmacy school to went to undecided. I didn't know what I wanted to do. And then during school, I lost my mom. And I'd always thought, I'd like to do something kind of medical, maybe helping people. But I knew I did not want to be a nurse because I did not want to be in a hospital setting.
Yeah.
So when I graduated, it was hard to find a job. And my mom had always said, while you're young and you're single, go see places. So I ended up working for Continental Airlines, and I was a flight attendant for a couple years. I grew up on my grandpa's tobacco farm. I call it the suburbs of a 3-stoplight town. Like there was nothing out there. And so when I was a flight attendant, I was based in Newark, New Jersey, and it was a huge shock to my system. But after doing that, I was like, this isn't it. I hated being in Newark. I hated it. And came back home, worked for an ophthalmologist for a couple of years. And then I'm like, and that time I'm like, I like working with patients. I like being in this, hands-on kind of medical thing. But what else could I do? Because I felt like I don't want to be an ophthalmic assistant for the rest of my life. I wanted a little more autonomy. And so our community college offered dental hygiene. So I thought, well, I'll apply and see what happens. And I applied, and that's what happened. And here I am 27 years later. I fell in love with it. I absolutely fell in love with it. And so that's how I became a hygienist. I worked for 7 years for a periodontal practice, 3 periodontists, and I loved the scaling and root planings. I loved that. But then it became, it's hard on you physically. So
It is. So Joffrey and I were actually just having a conversation a little bit ago talking about our favorite, because we have a friend that she loves perio.
Mm-hmm.
Just absolutely loves perio. And Joffrey, perio's not her favorite. Perfectly
Right.
healthy, clean patients, just doing maintenance is her thing. I love a good gingivitis. I live for a 4.3, 4.6.
Right.
That's
Right.
my thing.
Right.
So,
Yeah. I love getting in there and seeing it come out from below the gum line. And it's just so, it's just satisfying about that. And I loved one of the older periodontists that had started the practice. He was so good about bringing the patients around after their re-eval from the scale and root planning and saying, this person, they don't have to have surgery now because of what you did, and, very appreciative. And, I just great satisfaction with that. And then when my daughter was 2, I was like, we're going to need a general dentist, and I'm getting kind of tired. And so I went to a small practice, just one dentist and one hygienist. We had one other hygienist come in on Wednesdays, and I was with him for 16 years.
Oh, wow.
Until he sold the practice. And so that was really sad because it was a little family, and being there that long, you get to know your patients and really have a relationship with them. Yeah. And then from there, I ended up at an office that really overtreated everybody, and I just did not agree with that. I mean, it got to the point where when I was looking for another job and he'd recommend some treatment, and they'd say, what do you think? And I'm like, I think I'd wait. I think I'd go get a second opinion, because at first I thought, do I not know what I'm doing? Do I not? I don't see what he's talking about. But then, talking to other staff, it wasn't just me. So, but now I'm in a great practice. They're very supportive of what I'm doing, and I've been there for coming on 3 years. But for years, I would use the little paper cup, and put holes in it, or plastic cup, or whatever we used. And, there were times, I'd have it out on my counter, and I know there's some hygienists that are like, oh, what about the aerosols? But then I'm thinking, well, we have our gloves out too. Like our gloves are in the glove holders. And so, and at the time I really didn't have any drawers in my room, but now, the thing was, when I'd pick one up, if I didn't make the holes big enough, they'd all pick up, and, the whole cup would pick up, or was too light, and, I'd knock it over. But so
it was always too light. That thing always gets knocked over.
Right. Yes. So, I've thought about this for about 15 years off and on, and then life would get in the way, and I'd push it to the back of my mind. And then about 3 years ago, I was talking to my husband about it, and he was like, well, let's do it. Let's do it. So, I made it to where it's about 3 inches tall, so you can put it in a drawer if you want to put it in a drawer. I've had people ask, what about a cover for it? Have you thought about a cover? But I thought, somebody could go to like the dollar store, just get a little acrylic cube if they want to put over it, So, yeah, that's how we got here. I drew it. Then we had it drafted. I mean, we've been in this process for about 2.5 years, going through the attorneys and getting the patent. And I mean, it's a lot. It is a lot. It's a lot of time. It's a lot of money. It's a lot. I will say that.
Yeah. The production side of things, when you're on the consumer side and you're like, oh, I could do that. And then you go to do it. You're like, oh my gosh, there's another roadblock. There's another process. There's another step.
Exactly.
So there's so much to it that you don't even realize it.
Oh my gosh, I know. And in the process of the patent, the patent office came back and said, there was something we didn't turn in. And so the attorneys had to go back and forth with them, which was no fault of ours. We had turned it in, but it was the patent office's fault. They had overlooked it or misplaced it, whatever. But it cost us close to $1,000, for their mistake. And it was just like, good gracious.
Yeah. Oh gosh.
Yeah. It's been a very frustrating experience, but to see the support that I've been getting with this, and, the other hygienists are like, what a great idea. This is so great. It's nice to have that validation that, yeah, this is worth it. This is worth it.
I know when we posted about it last week, just the idea, I didn't even have it in person to show or anything. People were freaking out.
It is cute, isn't it?
It's cute, but people were messaging, I need that right now. I need it. I was like, here's the link. I don't know. I just found out this existed today. So here it is.
Yeah. Well, good.
Which is cool.
Good. Yeah. I tried to make it with faces. I wanted a little smiley face on it. But they looked great before they were fired in the kiln and had the glaze on them. But then when they did that, it just it disappeared. You couldn't see it. So
I believe that. So my husband, this is going to be my husband just got some implant crowns done. And we tattooed his implant crowns.
You did?
We did. And we had this whole grand thing of this picture. It was our wedding picture. So he had 2 molars next to each other. And my dentist was like, oh, you guys, this is the perfect opportunity. You have you on one tooth and you on the other tooth, and you guys can be kissing or something.
Yeah.
So we had this whole thing, and the lab came back and was like, that's not happening, guys. No, think stick figures. You're going to lose so much definition in the picture. It's going to look bad. Don't do it. So we have stick figures on his teeth now of us. So I can imagine that it probably looked super cute in the drawing, but in real life was oh.
I'm I got one. I'm like, where's the face? And I was like, oh, there it is. So I was like, well,
let's not do
maybe
that.
I'll come out with an accessory line.
Yes. Yes. That's so fun. So how long has this been like available to consumer for the hygienists?
A month.
Oh, wow. Okay. So
Right at a month. Yeah. So we got the first shipment in, and my husband was like, I was leaving at 4:30 the next morning to go to the airport to go visit a friend of mine in Oklahoma. And it was about 10:30 the night before. And I just packed, and he's like, let's go ahead and put it on. Let's go ahead and post it. And we posted it on, I think it was the Crafty Dental Professionals page.
Okay.
And we started getting a few orders, and he's like, we got to box these up. I got to take these to the post office tomorrow. And I'm like, okay. So we got my son down. He's a senior in high school. He was at home. He's down putting boxes together. We're wrapping them. We're just doing all this stuff. And got those first few out then. And then I left out the next morning. But yeah, so it's been right at 4 weeks, I think. Maybe 4 weeks this past Thursday.
Nice.
Yeah. So
that is so exciting. I remember getting like our first t-shirt order.
Yeah.
Monumentous.
Yeah. Very exciting. So, and I had someone from, I think it's the Ohio Dental Hygiene Association. I'm not sure, but they've asked if I want to come up and be a vendor. So, we got to look and see, is it worth, the amount it's going to take to get there and the hours. And so we've got to figure that out. We did go to, it's funny because, so we posted this on a late Wednesday night because I was leaving out early Thursday morning. And the very next week, we ended up, it kind of fell in our laps going to the North Carolina Dental Hygiene Association meeting in Cary, North Carolina, because the president of the North Carolina Association had seen the post and reached out and wanted to buy some for door prizes. And then she was like, well, why don't you just come be a vendor? I can't say that word today, vendor. And so we were there. And I mean, it was a matter of, when I got back from Oklahoma on Sunday, we were there on Saturday. It was like, we need a tablecloth and we got to do this and we got to pack all these up. And, it was just boom, 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 which was great. And we had a few sales and, got to meet some really neat people. So, yeah, I'm hoping that we'll be able to do a little more of those because I like talking to people and meeting people.
Conferences are a lot of fun.
Yeah.
The first ones are so hard because you're just still trying to figure out all the things you don't have,
Right.
All the little things that you need. And then sometimes, you're in love with your product, but there's always people out there that are like, oh, this is dumb.
Yeah. Right. Yeah.
Why does
yeah.
this
Like
exist?
I had a comment one time was like, who would pay $20 for that? And I just keep scrolling,
Yeah, like
keep
just
scrolling.
Yeah, you didn't need to say that. So
yeah.
We've been there. We've experienced some hard ones. We went to a conference. We sold like one sticker, and it was so demoralizing because obviously we took time off of work to be there.
Right.
We traveled. I mean, it was within our state, but it was so demoralizing. We were like, well, we are not coming back to this conference ever again.
Right.
That's not happening.
So with this, I think that first, I mean, we may have sold like 13 that day. And my husband was like, that's great. And I'm like, well, I was hoping for like 70. I'm like, so I've got, it kind of took the wind out of my sails a little bit, because I was like, okay, if there's a couple hundred people there, maybe we'll sell like 70, but that didn't happen. But anyway, did meet some nice people and got some great ideas and some suggestions. And, that's always a plus.
Yep.
That makes it worth it.
I think what is the best part of the whole story with this whole learning thing, right? It's all brand new, but just not letting a bad experience stop us from keep going. We just took notes, learned from it, and tried something different. And had we quit, we would have missed out on all the great things that have come since then. So I'm really glad Amanda and I didn't throw in the towel after one bad conference, and we've had many successful ones since then. So
That's awesome. Yeah, and that's when I'm excited. I'm still, I'm intimidated, a little scared, but I am excited, and I just really hope this takes off for us for obvious reasons, but also I would love to be at the point in my life where, we can give like $1,000 to, I don't know, like St. Jude's Children's Hospital, without it being any hardship on us, and to be able to I'm very passionate about children and animals, and I'd love to be able to have time off of work to be able to go, let me go hold the babies in the NICU. I can do that today, and just, that's my big goal. That's my big why. Of course I want to be able to take care of my family and help with my kids finishing college and all. Of course, that goes without saying, but that's my big why.
Melissa, I love hearing that. Your why
Beautiful.
is so you can go help other people in other ways.
Mm-hmm. Because I've been helped so much through my life, and I just want to be able to give back, and yeah, that's my why. That will make me happy if I can have the time to hold babies and rescue animals. Yes.
That is so sweet, Melissa.
Oh, thank you.
Okay, Melissa, I'm curious. So you've gotten some great feedback on social media about your product.
Mm-hmm.
What has the response been like? And, how has social media played a role in promoting the product?
Oh my goodness. So, well, social media just goes without saying, that it just can blow up. Just, because we are in connection with so many people, and that can just snowball. So that's really, really helped us. If it weren't for social media, I don't know where we'd be. I guess we'd be in a rundown van going here and there, with like a vagabond, going here to there to different conferences. But being able to get on these social media platforms that reach so many people in such a short amount of time has really benefited us. Obviously I wouldn't have had those first sales, without the platform of Facebook, and we're just getting on to Instagram and trying to figure that out. And from what everyone says, Instagram is just huge. But, I'm 55, and I feel like, trying to learn social media or trying to learn all these little things is like me trying to teach my grandpa how to program his VCR remote back in the, early 80s. So I'm now my grandpa. But no, social media has really helped us get this out here. Because like I said, it's only been 4 weeks. And we're, just having the sales, we'll be like, we'll get my 2 in an hour, be like, oh, wonder where the hell that one came about, and so it's all been social media. And then what was the other thing you asked me? Oh, I have ADD too, so sorry.
Oh, me too, Melissa. We are meant for each other. We're supposed to be on this podcast together. I think it is really cool that you're not, it's unfamiliar and you're still willing to learn and see how far you can push this and grow this product and grow yourselves. And I know from my own experience, social media presence has been great at promoting this podcast, at meeting people to come on and be guests. Social media has, I don't know where this company would be without it, honestly. I feel like that's like the little heart of Hygiene Elevated is our social media presence.
Yeah. Well, exactly. I don't know where we'd be right now. We'd be sitting there with all these teeth in our house. Where are we going now?
Not a creepy way. Not a creepy way.
Yeah, not real ones. Yeah, so I'm probably going door to door, like, do you have a dental professional living here?
Oh my gosh, Melissa, I have boxes all over my house of stuff for Hygiene Elevated, for Signature Dental Partners. There's stickers everywhere. There's just things all over the place. And it drives my husband absolutely bonkers. And I think it's part of my ADHD that I just leave things all over the place.
It drives my daughter crazy too. She's very organized. I don't know where she gets it from because it is not from me. But she's in college. She's getting ready to graduate in December. But she's like, yeah, when I come home, I get to sleep in the what does she call it? The storage room. I get to sleep in the storage room. It's our extra bedroom. It's got everything in there, you know. So. A storage room with a bed in it.
It sounds like she needs to be your social media campaign manager, and she can earn her keep.
Yes. So she and my stepdaughter are like, let us handle Instagram, but my husband keeps, he's doing stuff, and they'll text him like, no, don't do that. Take that down. Don't do this. Don't do that.
It helps to have those younger generations around for consultations.
Yes, it does.
My 11-year-old is really good at making social media content. It's almost like spooky scary how good she is. She will make like makeup tutorials. She'll do the oh my gosh, what is the one where they tap on the objects a lot?
Oh yeah, I know what you're talking about. But I'm like, yes.
There's a name for that. Of course there is.
Yeah, she loves making those. Oh, she's so talented.
I ran into, and this was probably a year ago, this lady, and it was alive, and she's just got her nails, and she's like going boop, 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 boop with her. And I'm like, what is going on? But she's got all these followers, and I'm like, I don't get it.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah.
That's the weird side of social media. Of people that have these insane followings, and you're like, I don't get it. Like,
I don't.
what is why?
Yeah. Okay. Each their own. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. So maybe. Oh boy.
Well, Melissa, it sounds like you have a very supportive household.
Very supportive family. I'm very blessed with that. Very blessed.
Honestly, from our own personal experience, we know you cannot grow far or fast without that support at home. So I'm really glad that you have that, Melissa.
Me too. And I'm very thankful for y'all and for letting me be on here. I hate it turned out the way it did today, but I'm glad I was able to get on here.
Oh, 100%. Melissa, I'm curious, what advice do you have for any dental professionals who might be thinking about launching their own product or business?
Well, something that was suggested to me, and it's funny, I actually had a hygienist reach out to me, and she has her own business, like she sews things. And I think her website is So Saxony. And we talked, she had reached out to me through social media and asked, she had some questions. And what I found, and I found this out through a dental assistant at the North Carolina meeting. And she had patented like a laser guide for x-rays. And she was talking to me about this site called Upwork. I don't know if you've heard of that, but Upwork is where you can go, and there are just thousands of attorneys, and you can put in a work order of what you need, and you can come back, and they apply for your job, apply for the position. And so, we could have saved a lot of money that way had we known about it in the beginning, which we didn't. We went through a local attorney, which has been great. They've taken great care of us, but you get lower fees on Upwork, I've found. So that's one thing that I would recommend looking into when you're looking into patenting and trademarking and forming an LLC. And I'm learning now about like branding, like what is branding? Well, you need apparently you like your same color palette. I'm like, oh, let's try this color, let's do this, and let's do that. And apparently that's not the right thing to do.
You got to make your things recognizable. Like, oh yeah, I know who that is. Like,
exactly.
Oh, yeah.
I didn't know that. I didn't know that because we just picked like blue for the website because I like blue. And first time I went to college, I went to UNC at Chapel Hill, and their colors were blue. And lights. I'm like, well, we'll do that color. But then when I did the flyer, I'm like, well, dental hygiene is purple. Let's do purple. And, and so I found out that's a no-no. So yeah, we're still working. I'm coming up for a logo for the actual Threader Getter. And I have something in mind, but I've got to draw that up to make it a little more recognizable.
Fun.
Well, you mentioned the platform to get the attorneys, and it's really reminding me of Fiverr platform where we've gotten so many things from for Hygiene Elevated. You can find graphic designers, but anyways, it was Fiverr who made our first Hygiene Elevated logo. And
Fiverr is in like high five?
not high five, Fiverr.
Like Fiver, I think it is.
EER, maybe?
EER, something weird.
Okay. FIV, but not a B. Not like.
Yeah, like 5.
Okay.
Yeah, we got our logo off of there, and they did a beautiful job. I loved our little tooth with the graph.
Okay. I'll have to check into them. Thank you. Okay. Got that written down on something I'll probably misplace in a little bit.
But at least you wrote it down, so you'll have some sort of memory, and you can always go back and listen to the podcast.
The Elmo, my daughter used Elmo used to say 5 fingers on the hand. So my daughter watched Elmo, my son. So maybe I can remember that. 5 fingers on the hand. Whatever works.
Yeah, Melissa, looking ahead, where do you see your product and brand going in the next few years? Do you have plans on any new product developments or innovations?
I have another idea for like super floss. I'm thinking about.
Oh.
Just kind of trying to see how this goes before I get in the deep end with something else.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, I don't know, 5 years from now, I don't even know.
One day at a time.
One day at a time.
1 month, right?
I would like to be able to work hygiene part-time. I don't see myself stopping hygiene. I like the interaction with patients. I like the scaling. I like, I like making a difference. But I would like to be a little more part-time, be part-time. Let's just say that. I hope my boss isn't listening, but I don't think he is. To 5 years from now, I mean, I'd like to see it be like a common name, with hygienists. So.
I love that. That is a very honest, beautiful goal to have.
And I think if anybody's listening, if they know anybody in hygiene school, I think it'd be a great present for graduation.
Mm-hmm.
Wink, wink.
For all the graduations coming up this year.
All the graduations coming up. Yeah. Yeah. Excuse me.
Oh, well, April, May, June are very big graduation months. So you guys will have plenty of time to prep for that.
That's right. Yeah.
Get the marketing out there.
Yeah. And we reached out to a few dental hygiene schools, so we'll see. We'll see what happens. They could always get it for their students too. Once they graduate and they get the pen, they get their Threader Getter.
I never got a pen when I graduated.
You didn't?
I got a physical writing pen, but never like the pen.
Oh.
No.
We need to get you a pen.
Did I even graduate? I'm questioning now. Gave me a piece of paper and a pen. I don't know.
It's all subjective if Amanda should be practicing or not.
Am I really a hygienist? I didn't get a pin. I don't know.
Oh, goodness.
What's your pen?
I know. I feel like I need to raise Cain with my hygiene program.
Right.
Yeah.
I don't know where mine is, but I remember I got it.
All right, Melissa. the last question I've got here for us is, what final thoughts or advice would you offer to other hygienists who might have a great idea but aren't sure how to take that first step into bringing it to life?
I think just network, just, reach out to someone who has done something like this. We reached out to my brother-in-law, who is a business owner, and he runs a distillery in Kentucky. But he's a smart businessman, and we reached out to him. It was like, hey, we're thinking about this. What are your thoughts? What do you think? And his thought was, I think you could make a good business out of this. I think, this will be a good idea. And so from there, he got us in with somebody who could make an actual model of it, and so we're just kind of using the resources to get to more the resources we have to get to more resources where we need to be, if that makes sense. So, just don't give up on it. It's worth a shot, whether this goes huge or stays where we are. I think it was worth a shot, just getting to meet people and talk to people and share your experiences. I think has been great for me. But, I think just, believe in yourself and do it sooner rather than later. I wish I hadn't pushed this back to the back burner so far, but we have, life happens, and other things come to the forefront. But I really think just pushing forward through it, whatever you can do each day to move a little closer to what you want, then do it. And then Upwork, for your legal stuff. I definitely look into that if you don't have an attorney in the family. So.
I think there's kind of like a thought that comes to mind, like you never get the answer to the question you don't ask, right?
Correct.
Like it's so hard to get started and you overwhelm yourself with the what ifs, or I don't know how to do that. I don't know how to do that. You probably don't. And a lot of people don't know how to do those things, but right. You were smart in going to somebody who's in business because they had to go through a lot of steps and they know people. Like, yeah, maybe your brother-in-law had no idea about dental stuff, but he knows people.
But he knows
the guy that knows a guy.
Exactly.
And that's how you get the ball rolling.
Exactly. And all these, well, what if? And, my husband and I always tell the kids, well, if some butts were candy and nuts, we'd all have a Merry Christmas, right? So we had to remember, to get out of your own mind of what if, and, what if people think it's stupid, and what if people don't like it? Who cares? Who cares?
Yeah.
In the
it's
long
like being
run.
a hygienist. You're not everybody's cup of tea, right?
Right. So, yeah.
I used to work for a dentist that would say, life's too short to should yourself.
That's a good one.
Should have done this. Should have done that.
Right.
Should have.
Life's too short to should you. I like that one. I like that a lot. I'm going to use that one.
You can use it. Credit Dr. Hickson this day.
All right.
Yes. Oh, thank you so much, Melissa. Thanks for joining us today.
Thank y'all. And again, I apologize for being delayed. I hope I didn't really mess you guys up.